Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you are listening or watching. Today is a quickie. Today's episode is specifically for my wellness leaders, those of you who are interested in joining the Wellness Asset Academy. Enrollment is now officially open and I close doors on 31st of January. Many of you have asked me, Sonal, what exactly is in the Wellness Asset Academy and how do I know if it's the right fit for me? So here we go. I thought I'd quickly jump on, do this episode and video for you so you can know what you get inside the Wellness Asset Academy and whether it's a right fit for you. But I think before actually telling you what the Wellness Asset Academy is, I want to rewind and tell you why I created it. What opportunity or what gap did I see in our industry that needed to be addressed? And hence the birth of the Wellness Asset Academy and who it is for. So, just to rewind and give some context, I started in this industry over 22 years ago. And before that, in my prior life, I had worked at Goldman Sachs, in the banking industry, a very different business reality. But fast forward over 2.5 decades, I know that those skills I learned way back then have been a huge part or a huge key to the success I've had in this industry. Because there I learned that success leaves clues and success is not a fluke. If you have businesses that are highly successful, it is because they have followed a framework. Now, it doesn't mean that they've not gone through a process of trial and error. But fundamentally, they've all followed a framework. All those successful businesses out there have followed a framework. And when I started in this industry over 2 decades ago, it certainly didn't have the social currency it does today, and it wasn't known as wellness back then. And when spa and gyms were introduced into the hotel industry, they were that amenity department. I mean, if you look at the traditional hotel business model, you had rooms and food and beverage, and they were kind of a 50-50%. In some places, rooms earned far more or generated far more in hotel revenue than food and beverage. And in other places, food and beverage is bringing far more revenue. And from there, the leaders of rooms and food and beverage then became the hotel GMs. Then we had spa and wellness come in. We were basically trying to learn our own business within another business model. And we evolved. And I love to see where the industry is today. And where am I going with this evolution? And where am I going with all this story? Is that, fast forward 20 years coming back to, let's say, 2019, 2020, when I was writing and researching for my book, The Wellness Asset, the first manuscript. I remember reaching out to over 100 GMs. I interviewed them, and they were very open with how wellness impacted their hotel and how they viewed wellness. That's one thing what me as a spa director, wellness director, thought way back then, that we were the most neglected department, never given the budget, always, treated like that neglected, unwanted child and business they never really understood. I could go on and on and on and on about that. And I think every wellness leader listening to me resonates with that. But I was quite, pleasantly surprised when I was speaking to all these GMs was that, yes, of course, we understand the value of wellness. We want wellness to work. But the thing is, wellness only contributes 1 to 3% of our total hotel revenue. So for a business unit that represents so much in terms of top line and even less in terms of bottom line, sometimes it's very difficult to justify to our owners why we need to spend more. Yes, we have an increase in occupancy. Yes, people spend more when they come to our restaurants. Yes, they stay longer. Yes, it's a better clientele. Still, That's not enough to make our hotel business run. They're very open and honest. And that is when I thought with me, these GMs are actually looking at the impact or the revenue contribution that wellness has in compared to the total hotel, P&L. And oddly enough, as wellness people, and I've held very high positions and I've had lovely mentors in front of me. Guess what? In our KPI, huge list of KPIs that we measure, very rarely do we measure. In fact, we don't measure what our wellness revenue represents compared to total hotel revenue. Now, why am I telling you this? Because if we want to be that wellness leader that doesn't barely scrap in 50K, but is a 100K earner, we need to create profit and losses. We need to have businesses that can sustain the salary of a 100K plus leader. And currently, we do not have wellness businesses that can sustain our salaries if we want that high salary. So if we want wellness to be on the map in hotels, we're going to have to make wellness equally strong as food and beverage and rooms. We're going to have to be that third key revenue generator. So instead of being that typical rooms and food and beverage, we now have a third area, that triad, which will become wellness. And if we want equal footing, that means we're going to have to also have a wellness department or wellness area that generates 30% of total hotel revenue, on par with rooms, which would be another 30 to 35%, and food and beverage. Obviously, that's an ideal scenario. There will be fluctuations. But if we are at 1 to 3% of total hotel revenue, we don't get to 30% just like that. We have to transform our businesses to get to that level. And I have seen just from 2020, when I was researching for my book, to late last year in 2024, I did another internal survey, and wellness leaders reported that they were earning anywhere between 6 to 8% of total hotel revenue. Now, that's a big jump from 1 to 3% to 6 to 8%. So we're talking about roughly, let's say, 5 percentage points. Now, let's assume that is an increase, because we don't know whether this metric was being measured before or whether how we measure it changes from one hotel to another. So let's assume that the demand for wellness has increased. It clearly has, and that has gone up 5 percentage points. And, it's just inevitable that our wellness areas will continue to contribute more to hotel revenue. That's just market inertia. But that market inertia will only take us to 12% or 15%. It won't take us to the 30 or 40% of hotel revenue. What will take us there is having wellness leaders who don't just manage businesses just slightly better, but leaders who transform their wellness offering into a strategic asset. And by definition, an asset is something that has both tangible, easily measurable, and intangible, not that easily measurable value, that contributes positively to achieving a goal or objective. Now I'm going to say that again. An asset is something that contributes positively to achieving an overall goal or objective. And what we wellness leaders get stuck in is thinking, wellness is an asset because it has value. It has intangible value. We clearly have it. And there is no doubt. No one has ever doubted today that wellness is not valuable, and it has that tangible value and that intangible value. What we need to do is create wellness offerings that contribute positively to the hotel's overall goals and objective. And that is what makes us an asset. And that is why I created the Wellness Asset Academy. And here's the thing. You do not create an asset by chasing trends, adding more wellness equipment, more ninja equipment, more flashy equipment, more bling. That does not happen. More does not necessarily mean it's better. We have to think beyond the bling and actually create an asset that moves the revenue needle in hotels. And there is a proven framework that takes us there, like there is a framework for any business. And that framework is the Essence Framework, the 7 stages of the Essence Framework. So, what do you get in the Asset Academy, the Wellness Asset Academy? You get access to 7 modules that take you through the 7 stages of creating a profitable wellness asset. And because I know how difficult it is to just follow a framework, I have created a number of bonus content in order to help you take that transition from where you are right now to transform your wellness offering into a profitable wellness asset. So I have created a deep dive session with me so that you have my guidance throughout those entire 10 weeks. You also get to see how I write my budget templates. This is not a one-on-one on finance or accounting. This is Sonal sharing her real life budget templates that have worked incredibly well, and you get access to them. So you know exactly where to focus. And to ensure that your teams are set up for success, I will also give you my SOP Mastery Guide. Now, it's not writing your SOPs, copy paste from big hotels. No, this is making you look at your business and define how you make wellness. That is so special to this property because it's never the what, but it's always the how that differentiates you. And because I want to set you up for success, I will give you those productivity hacks, the one thing you need to do each week in order to see results. And here's also one thing I've noticed. And this is a course created by a wellness leader for wellness directors. I have been in the trenches and I continue to be intentionally in the trenches when it comes to day-to-day operations. And I know that life can throw us life can throw us things that sometimes kind of get us off bearing. And that is why I've given everyone lifetime access to this course. So you get to come to not only this round, but future rounds. Because if creating a wellness asset was so easy, we'll have wellness assets everywhere. And it clearly isn't. So you will find that each round you come to, you will be building, going deeper and deeper into the framework and creating your wellness asset. And as you implement, you will start to see results. You'll start to encounter your challenges. And this is where you get that weekly support, not only from myself, but also from your peers who are going through what you are going through. So I designed the Wellness Asset Academy to transform the way we're doing wellness. To not just do more of the same, but just slightly better, but to completely, radically change the way we think about our wellness businesses and create business units that represent 30% of total hotel revenue. And you know what? Our business is already ripe to get there. The market has done a lot of work. We just need to ensure that we as leaders are equipped to manage such a robust and strong business. So I designed the Wellness Asset Academy for those wellness leaders who want to create wellness assets and who no longer want to conform to that 50K salary, who wants to go to that 100K salary, and maybe, who knows, one day even that 200K salary, and one day even become a GM of a hotel that is strongly wellness oriented. So if you are one of them, the Wellness Asset Academy is for you. Head over to spa-balance.com/WAA. That is spa-balance.com/WAA and enroll to this round of the Wellness Asset Academy. Look forward to seeing you there. Take care now.